Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back to watch another episode of The Sandman. This is episode 6, I believe. It is called The Sound of Her Wings. What happened last time on The Sandman? Last time was the just incredibly unsettling, anxiety-inducing diner episode where John Boy goes into this diner to like reveal the truth of people and essentially forces all these people to like go into their like animal basic instincts and, you know, get to the core, I guess, of who they are on like a primal level. And they all like kill each other, and then he forces them to kill themselves, and it's like awful. But I guess at the same time, the rest of the world was also falling apart, and that's rough. Not a fun time. But Dream now has all his shenanigans back. He's got his ruby power. I guess it was crushed, so he doesn't have his ruby. He just has the power that the ruby had. He's got his sand, and he's got his little plague mask thing, his helm. And now he is, you know, on his way to right the ship, I assume. But we saw a tease at the end of one of his siblings. I don't know which sibling that is yet, but I assume we'll find out. And the thumbnail of this episode, I think, has one of his other siblings in it. I think it's Death. So I assume we're gonna deal with Death. And people have commented that this episode is one that made them cry, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, other than that, before we jump into it, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe. And then if you are interested in seeing the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That would mean the world as well. But otherwise, let's jump into episode 6 of The Sandman. The Sound of Her Wings, Chapter 6. And like typical, my eyelashes are already stuck together. Oh, Dream, you're just an old man feeding birds. Love it. Love it.
Heads up!
Sorry, man.
Oh,
Nice catch, though.
you should be the keeper. Ooh, that's his sister. Death.
Franklin. Come on, Franklin. What are you waiting for?
Was Franklin about to die then because he saw Death?
When they captured me, I just had one thought.
Where's my siblings?
Vengeance.
Like Batman.
My tools long since stolen and scattered. And so I embarked upon a journey to find them. Which I did. I'm now more powerful than I have been in eons.
Gang gang. That's fun.
I'd had a true quest. A purpose beyond my function, and then suddenly it was over, and I felt disappointed.
Interesting.
I feel like nothing.
Dang. That's rough. He's a little depressed.
You could have called me, you know.
I didn't want to worry you.
Don't believe it. Did it never occur to you that I would be worried about you?
Well, I didn't think.
Exactly. You didn't think.
Use your dipstick. Dang. Shoddy?
Look,
Yo, ask her for her number.
I can't stay here all day. I've got work to do. You can come
Franklin?
with me if you want.
Franklin gonna die?
Sorry. Before you go, could I maybe see you again?
You probably
Sure,
don't want
Franklin.
to.
You'll see me again.
Seriously?
Soon.
Don't say soon.
Just one. Thanks.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's a gift.
Aw, thank you.
It better be free. You just rubbed it on your shirt.
Can you hear it?
I haven't heard it in 200 years.
Dang. Whoever's playing it is about to kick the bucket. Oh, this old man. Probably racist. He's been alive for a while.
Keep going.
I can't. He never finished it. All we have is a fragment.
Dream knows the rest. Yeah, bro. Harry, are you not concerned how they're in your apartment?
Not yet, please.
It's time.
Shema Yisrael,
Oh,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The Lord is our God. The Lord is one.
something tells me he never actually got up from that chair. Yep, he's still sitting there, isn't
I
he?
look so old. So empty.
Of course you're empty. You left. You're standing right here now. The sound of her wings.
You ready?
He was once a young man in a band. Okay, notify some authorities that that man's dead, so he isn't just chilling there for days. Because it could be days, weeks before someone finds that body. Sorry, thinking logistically here.
When I was captured, it wasn't me they were looking for. It was you.
Yeah. I know.
Would she offer him up? How do you know that they were looking for you?
Hi, Sam.
Arnar. Sam's about to die.
Do I know you?
Oh, they all realize, don't they?
I'm so sorry, Sam.
But we're on a honeymoon.
Your time's up.
Sam? Sam!
Come on, hon.
Oh. I don't know why this one makes me more sad than the old man. Oh, no.
Sam!
Dang it. Oh. That one made me more sad. Oh.
And then there's your ongoing project. How's he bearing up after all this time?
Who? Hobgadling? I don't know. I was forced to miss our last appointment.
Hobgadling? Who the frick is that?
I learned that all they really need is a kind word and a friendly face.
Bro, I swear to God. I swear to God, if she is here for that baby. You mother effer. Do not. Please do not. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm afraid so.
oh no.
That's all you get.
Don't do that. Come on.
can go.
Their attitude towards your gift is so strange.
Oh, man. Ah, he got shot.
At the end, each of us stands alone. The sunless lands are far away, and the journey is hard. Most of us will be glad for the company of a friend.
Person overdosed. Oh, man.
Our purpose is our function.
Interesting. Bro, if you're gonna come back to Franklin at the end of this episode, I'm gonna be so sad. Oh no, Franklin.
To me, man! Over here!
Oh, Franklin, no.
One last appointment, then have to go.
I too am late for an appointment.
Oh, God, no!
Tell him I said hello.
Did you see that? That car came like this close to hitting me.
This close, huh?
Oh, poor Franklin, you're so nice. This episode's so sad. Oh. The old man didn't make me sad, but the young people and the baby.
I've made up my mind. I'm not going to die.
Hobbs, death comes for every man.
You don't know that. I might get lucky. There's always a first time.
Yeah, you might get lucky. Hang out with him.
Could grant him his wish.
Do that, and he will be begging for death within a century, I assure you. Let us meet here again, Robert Gatling, in this Tavern of the White Horse, in 100 years.
Is he actually going to meet him?
I will see you in the year of our Lord 1489 then.
Do they meet every year, every 100 years? They meet together? Very interesting. 1489. Here we go.
All right. I'll tell you what it's like. It's fucking brilliant. But now I've started in a new trade. It's called printing.
Ooh.
Never be a real demand for it, and it's hard work, but it beats the hell out of rotting tomatoes.
Never be a demand for it. Is he gonna own some like media conglomerate when he's that old? Like in the modern day?
My friend! Sit down.
Is he like rich?
Got in a couple of bottles of good wine for us. Already made a start on them.
Stockpiling all his money.
After we spoke, I was working with Billy Caxton. Made some gold from that. Put it to work in Henry Tudor's shipyards. I made a small pile.
Ooh, Tudor.
Then I went north for a year or so, came back as my son. Done that twice now.
Done that twice now. I wonder if eventually he gets bitter.
My fair Eleanor.
Oh,
The little Robin.
got a family. And you'll have to. This is what'll change him.
Life is so rich.
To him I'll build an altar in the church and offer up lukewarm blood of newborn baby.
Is that Billy Shakes over there?
Would you write great plays? Create new dreams to spur the minds of men?
It is.
And let us talk.
Who's the dude with the broken leg, though? They mentioned something about Faustus. It's interesting. He, this dude here.
All right. Bring on the lamb.
is living good. He's made money. Objectively, is in a fairly good spot. But Dream wanted to talk to the writer.
I lost it all. My land, my gold,
Your family.
my Eleanor. She died in childbirth. The baby too.
Dang.
My boy, Robin, died in a tavern brawl when he was 20. I didn't go out much after that. I've hated every second of the last 80 years. Every bloody second, you know that?
He probably could have assumed.
Death is a mug's game. I've got so much to live for.
Okay. Is someone keeping track?
I'm in the shipping business.
Nice.
There's a new system where they take English cotton goods to Africa, get a cargo of Negroes.
Oh, that's
like
bad.
Sardines,
Yeah. Hob, we don't like that part.
tobacco and sugar.
Yeah, we don't like that part, man. It's bad. It's bad juju. You're gonna want to get out of there.
I suggest you find yourself a different line of business while we're battling.
Yeah. He's giving you a directive.
Years. What happened to live your life as you choose?
Would you take that choice away from others?
Yeah, Robbie.
That lad, Will Shakespeare,
Billy Shakes.
he turned out to be a half-decent playwright after all. What's your name?
Jeff. My name's Jeff.
I might ask both of you that same question.
Oi!
You return to this pub every 100 years, striking bargains with men, sharing gifts, immortality,
Oh,
which you will now share with me.
no.
I am no devil.
And he can't
I'm
die.
not Jewish.
Fie.
Also,
What manner of creatures are you then?
neither of them can die, so your throat-slitting dudes, I have no threat to them.
No. No, I think not.
Neither of them are even remotely concerned. They can't die, and this dude has had 400 years of combat training. What did he show her?
Give us an hard ride with your cream stick.
I think not.
I bet you ain't got it in you anyway, you skinny chickaleary.
Luke?
Brother! My brother in Christ, get out of these bad professions. From slavery shipping to prostitution.
No idea what her real name is.
Louise Baldwin. Her father was in the British Army. Her cousin raped, impregnated, and deserted her when she was just a child.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, it makes you feel bad
How
for
do you know?
prostituting her now, doesn't it?
People are almost always better than you think they are. I don't think I'll ever seek death. By now you know that about me. So, I think you're here for something else.
And what might that be?
Companionship.
Friendship?
Yeah. Doesn't have any friends.
You dare.
No, look, I'm not saying...
You dare suggest one such as I might need your companionship.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Don't get angry, Dream.
I tell you what, I'll be here in 100 years' time.
If you're here then too, it'll be because we're friends.
Oh. But he missed... Does he miss the meeting because he's captured? Good old 1989, baby.
Maybe in another 100 years.
You'll have to have found a new pub by then. This place has been sold to make room for new flats.
Oh no.
You're late.
just a little bit.
I've always had it impolite to keep one's friends waiting.
And he admitted they're friends. Oh, hello.
It is I, Desire.
Why does your heart look like that?
My brother has found a way out of his cage. My plan has failed. But don't worry. I have a new one.
So you is your fault? Why? Come on. Holy cow. This show's so friggin' good. Okay, that episode was really, really good. Probably one of my favorite episodes of television I've seen in recent memory. Recent memory being the last month or two. That was just really good, like heartwarming. Like the first half of the episode, first 20-30 minutes, very sad. Dream spending time with death and realizing or remembering that, you know, they need people as much as people need them. And he, you know, he had been just kind of not concerned with the lives and dreams of humanity up until that point. And then, you know, or up until he met that dude in the pub in the 1400s or whatever. But man, the first like 20-30 minutes. Okay, first of all, Death is a sweetheart. I hope to never meet her. No, man, the scenes of them walking together and talking and her meeting with those who are gonna die was rough. For a few of them. You know, the old man that was playing and the hospice person, weirdly, like, those didn't affect me because, like, I feel like you almost expect those people to be close to death or, you know, dying or whatever. You don't, and not that it feels right, but it feels acceptable. I don't know. But the young people, the baby, the baby and the dude on the beach and Franklin, like the people that are full of life, it just feels wrong. So when you have an episode where you literally have death coming to those people, that's rough. That made me sad and it made me cry a little bit. I was tearing up. And you just, you know, but then, you know, transitions to the second half of the episode where Death grants Mr. Hobb himself the gift of immortality. And who knows how long this man will, you know, choose to seek life, right? But you know, Dream is like, you know, 100 years this dude will be begging for death, and then every 100 years it starts out as this guy just like loving the progress that society has made. You know, I would like to think, like, if I'm alive in 100 years, I might just be stoked about the like technological advances that are happening. Like, I could In 100 years' time, I might be able to just like fly to Mars whenever I want. Who knows? 100 years after that, I could like teleport to Mars. I don't know. That sounds dope. And like, so like him, at least for the first few hundred years, him being like, dude, everything's friggin' awesome. You know, I'm doing great. Gets himself in some not savory practices, you know, the slave trade. Should probably piece out of that, homie. Dream is immediately like, dude, no, that's a hard pass, hard no from me, man. I will not be your friend if you continue to partake in the slave trade. And he's like, all right, okay, I'll think about it. Gets out of there. Next 100 years, he's like in prostitution, and it's like, bro, like, can you pick a profession that is not taking advantage of people? But man, that makes me think of like, you know, he obviously found reasons to want to live continuously, right? And so I wonder like what would be some reasons like I would want like to keep on living if I stayed like 27 right now for the next 500 years. What are some reasons that would prevent me from wanting death or like being ready or like content? Like I assume if death were to come to him and be like, hey man, it's time, I think he would be okay with that. I think he would be content, right? Like if death came, he'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it, I've been around a while. You know, not necessarily like ready, but like he understands. But he's definitely not seeking death. He's not running to death being like, it's time, take me, right? Maybe in some specific moments, like when his kid died and his wife died, maybe in those moments he's seeking death. But like, I think off the top of my head, I would want to live to experience the art that has continued to be made, like this show. If I was born 100 years earlier, I probably would never have been able to experience this story. I would never have been able to experience video games like The Last of Us. Probably the most emotionally impactful, you know, experience of an art form, whether that be film, gaming, books, whatever. Like that is probably the most visceral, emotional experience I've ever felt. And if I was born 250 years before that, I never would have gotten to see that. So I think forward and I imagine, what are some of the things people will create and do in the next 150, 200 years that I am on the precipice of being able to experience. And I think those are the things that would want, like, and like, weirdly, it's oh man, it's such a weird mix of feelings, because as a person of faith, like as a Christian, I'm fully aware, like everyone has their time, like there is a time for death. And the idea of going to heaven, like, I mean, the idea of dying is kind of frightening, honestly. But the idea of like, once you die and go to heaven, spend eternity with your creator, that sounds dope. That sounds fantastic. And who knows, maybe in heaven you can experience incredible forms of art that are way cooler than what will come out on this earthly plane. But it's like, being a Christian, it's a weird middle spot of like actively desiring to meet Jesus, but also actively desiring to be here for as long as possible. And I find myself in a weird middle spot with that, where I want both things. But no, yeah, I think those are the things that would keep me wanting to live for those 100 extra years. Is like, what are some of the cool, beautiful things that are gonna happen that I can experience, right? Like even this dude, his like whole family dies and he loses all his money, and Dream is like, you ready to die yet? And he's like, I have so much to live for, because he knows, like, he's experienced the top. He knows what can be, and so he knows, even though he's at the bottom right now, like, there's so much beauty in the world that he can still experience. And so he sticks around, and then it slowly becomes like a friendship thing. Like if you know, that's one of the things I've heard is particularly effective in keeping people who have like suicidal ideation, like keeping them alive. Like, people often will not kill themselves if like they have an appointment coming up, if that makes sense. Like, if you make an appointment to meet with your friend on Wednesday, they now have that in their calendar. I have to hang out with Todd on Wednesday. I can't kill myself on Tuesday. I gotta hang out with Todd on Wednesday. And like weirdly, like little things like that. There's stories of people who were like, I was going to take my life, and then I remembered that, you know, The Last of Us Part 2 comes out on this date. Or like, I guarantee you, there are people who were like, I was gonna kill myself, and then I realized Avengers Endgame comes out this summer. And so they held off until they could watch that movie, and then they watched that movie, and whether it be a direct result of the movie or life, they realize, you know, maybe I don't want to do that anymore. And so that might have been what happened with him, right? Like he knows, especially if you're living a long time, eventually 100 years gets shorter, if that makes sense. Like 100 years doesn't feel as long when you're 1,000 years old or 10,000 years old, right? Like in Lord of the Rings, when Durin is upset that Elrond hadn't shown up for 20 years, to Elrond, it doesn't seem like a long time because he's like an immortal. So he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, well, he's upset. He's like, I'm sorry I did that to you. But like, in the moment, you don't realize that that's a long time. But like, to people, that's a long time. But for these two immortal dudes, 100 years isn't that long. And so they develop this habit of meeting with each other and hanging out every 100 years, and they chat. It's like when the people that are like, oh yeah, my best friend is this person, and they're like, oh, when's the last time you hung with them? Oh, like a year ago. It's like, what? And they've just become those type of best friends that don't need to hang out all the time. I mean, it might feel like they're hanging out all the time if they're immortal, because, like I said, 100 years gets shorter and shorter. But they're having a good old time, and then they have a fight. Oh, they have a fight. And he misses the meeting, and now they're meeting in this new place, you know, kind of the same pub, but not really the same pub. But now they both have like fully admitted that they're friends, and, you know, death has reminded him that, you know, these connections are meaningful, and his connection to these people is meaningful, and they are meaningful, and their dreams are meaningful. And it was just a really, like, even with all the sadness at the beginning, it was just a very heartwarming episode, and I liked it a lot. Like, it weirdly, it gives you hope. in this dark and dreary world where so many awful things are happening, things like this are able to give you the tiniest semblance of hope, and kind of keep you kicking for a little bit. And like that dude said, we have so much to live for. You know, if I for some reason died before I saw this episode, or like, you know, something happened to me, or I chose to end my life before I saw this episode, like, I never would have gotten to experience this beautiful story. And so it weirdly just like warms your heart and makes you want to live for another day. Okay, I should make it clear. I'm not planning to do that anytime soon, ever. I will not. When I say anytime soon, that makes it seem like maybe in 10 years. No. That's definitely not in the cards for me. I'm not going to kill myself, and I don't want to. So hopefully all the things I've been saying, hopefully you weren't getting the vibe of like, oh, seems like you're trying to say something here, bud. No, super not. Partly because if I did, I wouldn't see these dope things, brother. Like, also my mom would cry. I can't do that. My mom would be devastated if I died. So that's automatically off the table. But things like this just provide just a little extra boost, a little extra serotonin, and a little extra hope that even when this awful, awful world continues to get even more awful, there are moments, however fleeting, of beauty. Like, it makes me think of the movie, my favorite movie of all time that I watched on the channel, Everything Everywhere All at Once. The whole main concept of that movie is like nihilism versus like existentialism or something like that. But like the main antagonist of that film is like everything is pointless, everything sucks, eventually it will all be pain, which is like what Dream expected this man to come to the conclusion of, you know, where the daughter in that movie at a certain point is like just trying to die. And Dream was like, this dude's gonna be begging for death. But no. He comes to the conclusion of like, if all I get are these small, beautiful moments, you know, if all I get is hanging out with you once every 100 years, I will take it. Right? Like, oh, it's just, I love this episode, man. It's so good. Freaking A, dude. Freaking A. I don't know what else to say. It's a solid episode. Loved it. I think this might be my favorite episode of the season. Whereas last episode, I was just like, bro, I'm never watching that again. This might be an episode of television that I find myself coming back to. As long as Netflix doesn't remove it from the platform for tax reasons, I think I might end up watching this singular episode many times in the future. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about the end. His sibling, Desire, and one of the other siblings, twins. Is Desire a twin? It's played by Mason Alexander Park, who I just saw in I think it's a CBS show, the Quantum Leap reboot. They play a character in that show as well, so I recognized him. But are they twins? Did we see both of them? Is one of them the one we saw last episode, and then this is the other one, or like have we only seen one of them at this point? Either way, they were the ones that devised this plan to entrap Dream. which is very curious. Now they have a new plan to like make him bummed out for whatever reason. Also, another curious point, Death knew when he was like, oh, they weren't trying to get me, they were trying to get you. Death was like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm not dumb. Like, I know they were trying to get me. So that means that Death was aware of their plan and probably aware that Dream was captured and just like did nothing. Like chose not to do stuff. Very curious. The dynamics between all their family members is something I hope we explore a little bit to figure out like what the F, guys. Like, was Dream just that bad of a guy? Like, was he that big of a douche? Like, was he just like a pretentious butthole, like moping around all the time that just no one wanted to hang out with him, even his family members? The only people that liked him was Lucian. Like, the when he got in prison, they were just like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Just let him sit there for a while. Oh, very curious, very curious. But I'm glad that Dream has found his purpose. You know, his purpose is his function. His function is his purpose. You know, he doesn't need some mission or some quest. Like, just serving his function is enough, I guess. You know, the managing the dreaming is good enough for him, I guess. Or at least that's what Death has come to the conclusion of. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. Again, freaking love this episode. It was fantastic. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode down in the comments below. I would love to hear the things that this episode made you feel, or your interpretation of the episode. You know, or your interpretation of my interpretation of the episode. Sometimes I say things or like go on rants or existential topics that, you know, I just talk about stuff sometimes, and I'm never quite sure how people respond to that. Because sometimes people will comment stuff and be like, oh yeah, like, I like what you said there. But like the vast majority of the time, like no one says anything. Like, I'll go on rants or like existential thoughts for like 10 plus minutes, and sometimes like no one will comment on it, and I'm just like, oh, I guess everyone agrees. Or they just like don't care, or like just didn't reach this part of the video. So I'm just very curious. I'm curious like how many people actually make it to the end of the video. That's very interesting to think about. I mean, I can look at the analytics and see like the general number, like the general percentage of like where people drop off and such. Generally, it happens like immediately as the reaction ends. But I'm always curious like how many individual people like will make it to the very end. Like if I was like, hey, if you're still here, message me on Twitter and I'll give you $1,000. Like how many people would message me? Like how many people would believe me? First of all, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you $1,000. But you should follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, because that would mean the world to me, because I'm vain. And I love that little serotonin boost when the number goes up. No, for real. If you're here at this point in the video, follow me. Like, follow me on all platforms, because I don't know why. It just makes me feel good. They're all linked on when you click on my channel. They're on the header at the top. They're like little, or if you go to the About section, I think it's there as well. I never really plug my socials. I should do that more. At this point, I'm just rambling. If you are someone who is still watching at this point in the video, for God knows what reason, you're still here. What is... I used to do this a lot, ask questions at the end. What is something you're looking forward to through the end of the year? So, in the next couple of months, what is something you are looking forward to? I'd love to hear what what kind of good things, and it doesn't have to be big things. It could be a small thing. It could be, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing The Woman King when it's on streaming. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the birth of a sibling. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it does matter to you, but like, it could be big or small. What are you looking forward to in the next couple months? Yeah, answer that question, and then follow me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, because duh, you big dumb losers. Oh, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. Hit subscribe if you're new, and then if you want to see full uncuts for this episode or anything I watch on the channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. That would mean the world. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.